Tea at 2, Season 3, Episode 14. How are you all feeling this Tuesday? I am feeling like I'm blooming. So for those who follow me, especially on Instagram and all the stories, or Facebook and all the stories, you know that I've launched my Bloom Brew tea, and I'm doing tea tastings and selling and drinking this brew. And I am feeling the expansion from the inside out, which is what it's all about, making room to bloom. And that's what we're going to be talking about this particular week. And I'm actually going to be highlighting the 7 flowers and herbs that are in Bloom Brew for the next 7 weeks. So we're going to start off with hibiscus, which is the main flower that is in Bloom Brew. So the next 7 weeks, I'm going to be focusing on those particular ingredients in Bloom Brew. Last week, if you were here with me, I actually switched it up completely and actually featured Bloom Brew as the tea for that Tuesday. But now I'm gonna break it down for the next 7 weeks and highlight the 7 specific flowers and herbs that are in Bloom Brew. And so divinely timed with it all, with our last few days of Venus retrograde. Venus goes direct on Saturday, April 12th, and coincides on the exact same evening as the full moon in Libra, which is the pink moon. So tapping so much again into the blooming, the flower essence of Bloom Brew, of aligning with Venus, and Venus rules Libra. So the alignment is just so incredibly on point. It's all about the retrograde energy of going inward and reflection and the self-love aspect of things, and Venus teaching us in her slowdown of 40 days to focus on the self, so that when she redirects, we then redirect our energy back into the world with a lot more of a focus in regards to making sure that our cup runneth over and others drink of the overflow. That is what it is all about. Room to bloom, release to increase, the urge to purge, the feel it to heal it, the face it to replace it. That is all about releasing and removing what does not serve us so that we can make space to be in the receiving mode. And that is what Venus teaches us. That is what divine feminine energy is all about. So that's what we're going to be talking about. That's what we're going to be doing. And I see my peeps coming through. Mrs. Ro Alafia Queen, how are you? Hello, Lamberta. Welcome, welcome. Andrew, welcome, welcome. I see y'all on Instagram. Thank you. I'm channeling Shango. Oya. This is Oya energy all the way. And Eshu and all of the alignments with red, but it's all about my Bloom Brew. So hibiscus, very much all about that color, Oya's color. And my Bloom Brew is very much, that burgundy, that very, very rich, rich, rich burgundy that you see. Oh yeah, it's showing. That you see hibiscus do. And then in Bloom Brew, additionally, we've got rose and rose hip. So I do a combination. So the energy of rose with rose petals and rose hip. And then we've got hyssop, and we've got lavender, and then we've got bay, and then we've got star anise, and we've got sage. So all of it again is just completely that remove whatever does not serve you, that making room to bloom, because everything is already in you. You are a flower. You are delicate. You are in soft season mode. And that is what we need to be in order for what is meant for us to come through. As we say, my Ori allows that which is meant for me and rejects that which is not. We are protected, we are guarded, we are guided, we are ultimately. And it really is just about coming into that alignment, that remembering and returning to the self versus the seeking and the finding, because there is nothing to seek and find. We are already here. It's about clearing out that debris and letting it all trickle to the surface. The roots grow under the surface, right? Plant a seed and the roots grow under the surface, and you can't see that growth, but ultimately it's happening. And it's only when it starts to percolate and that sprout blooms and that flower, that bud starts to bloom. We're in spring season right now. It's all about that, when we're starting to see that growth again, and we're reminded of our resilience in that moment of decay, in that moment of frozen, of stillness, of again, what is under the surface. And then all of a sudden, here comes the bloom, right? Here comes the bloom, here comes the bloom. So that's what's up with Bloom Brew. And that's what's up with y'all. Like, it's what's going on with us ultimately. And it's especially powerful when we're tapping into the last few days of Venus retrograde, going direct again on the same day that our full moon in a Venus ruled Libra taps into pink moon energy. It doesn't get more in alignment than that. It really don't. It really don't. So make room to bloom, ultimately, is the message, is the affirmation, is I make room to bloom. Name it, claim it, demand it, command it, but do the work, right? We have to be in receptive mode and to receive, but if our hands are tight and holding on to things that aren't really for us, how can we receive anything new? We can't even pick it up if it was right there in front of us, let alone what is supposed to be dropped into our palms. Our palms are literally portals for everything that we wish to hold. So we've got to clear things out. We have to open up our hands again. We've got to make sure that our palms are open so that we can receive these things that Spirit has for us. So whatever you're holding on to that ultimately you know is not for you, these last few days through Venus retrograde that is reminding us to go inward with this alignment of self-love, of clearing things out. Full moons are all about the release. It is about plucking weeds before we plant seeds to make sure that we are planting seeds in the most fertile soul, right? Our soul aligns with the soil. So we got to think about what it is that we're planting. What seeds are we planting in the most fertile soil so that that is what blooms. So that is what grows. What do you want to bloom, right? And who do you want to be? Who are you ultimately? And that's the question that you get to ask yourself really in depthly during a Venus retrograde. So that again, once that energy goes direct, Venus rules love and beauty and relationships and our finances and all of the things that really come in terms with our heart and our hearth and our home and our sanctuary. So how do you want to feel ultimately? Within yourself, in your own skin, in your own soil, in your own soul, and then as a result, how you're reflecting that and accepting certain dynamics, right? So this is the lesson, and it's the most powerful time to do it and to go inward and to ask those questions and find those answers and then do the work to release, to make the room for the bloom. Okay? So I see Mrs. Rose says, I've been in Yemoya energy for a minute. She's been on my head. Ashe, clear it out, cleansing, catharsis. This energy is that too, right? When we talk about release to increase, making room to bloom and all of that, absolutely Yemoya energy as well, because she just brings the clearing things out, right? She's the ocean, that salt that clears. And that's also why I include sage in Bloom Brew, because sage is that removing anything negative that doesn't serve, that clears out in terms of that catharsis that's needed. So absolutely. Welcome, Nayan. Welcome. I see David. Welcome. Thank you for joining. Rohit, welcome on YouTube. So I decided I never wear makeup, for those that know, right? I'm not actually wearing makeup, but I'm, put a little lipstick on because I was like, I want to make my lips match my clothes, match my wrap, you know what I'm saying? So tapping in again to the color of Bloom Brew, the color of hibiscus. So we start off as always tapping in to Baba Ozain, the Orisha of everything that is green and grows, who rules and commands the bloom. And I speak Ozain's name with every stir when I am like brewing this Bloom Brew, right? I stir in figure eights to bring in infinite abundance. So it is passed on, and I give thanks to Baba Ozain Asheo. The root of Bloom Brew, hibiscus. And then for our crystal, aligning with hibiscus, we're going with red jasper this week to go with our hibiscus alignment. And when we tap into hibiscus, first and foremost, it is jam-packed with antioxidants, so powerful for our immune boosting. Detoxification as well, great for the liver, which we need in terms of our detoxifying and stuff, great for the kidneys. So it just helps kind of that same purging energy, right? Clearing things out. It's awesome for heart health. So when we talk about being in the receptive mode and divine feminine energy and manifesting, making room to bloom, to bring in everything that we want, everything that we are, to let it trickle to the top, we've got to make sure that our heart chakra is clear and cleansed, and it is the central chakra. So when our heart chakra is in balance, the as above, so belows come into balance so much easier. And likewise, when our heart chakra is out of balance and out of whack and deactivated and all of these things, then it's going to be a lot more of a discombobulation with the as above, so below chakras, the three above and the three below. So I always say start with the heart. You cannot go wrong when you start with the heart. So tap into hibiscus and Bloom Brew in general when you want to focus on making sure that your heart chakra is happy and healthy and feeling an energy of harmony. It's great for blood pressure. It's great for menstrual pain and menstrual cramps and anything in regards to menstruation. So it's very much a tea that aligns with blood, which is life force energy, which is about just the power of things and stamina and drive and gusto and that kind of thing. So when you look at, you know what I mean, the color even, it very much, which is again why I'm inspired to wear those colors. It's really, again, life force and claiming things and really just deciding this is what it is. It's again very Oya energy in that regard as well, to command the change and to initiate change and not just kind of go with the flow all of the time, but decide, you know what, if this isn't working for me, I'm not going to wait for it to fall apart. I'm going to create the tower moment sometimes and be ahead of it instead of it happening to me, right? And feeling that thing of happening to me. I'm going to be able to take the head and take the, the reins of this thing and then acknowledge that it's happening for me. And it changes the game, when you're able to do it that way. So with our red jasper, it is one of the best stones for dream recall. So I always sleep with red jasper under my pillow. And if I don't remember my dream and I'm just kind of getting little pieces of it, I'll stay in bed and I'll just put this on my third eye and just lay there for a minute and just let the pieces kind of come together. And it's so much easier sometimes when I remember to, in the kind of lull of sleep. Sometimes you fall back asleep or whatever. But when I do remember and I'm trying to kind of put these fragments together, just throw it on there, try to see, and then, the pieces will start to find their way back to you, and then the story starts to unfold a little bit easier. Great for stamina, which again aligns as well with our energy of the blood and hibiscus and what Bloom Brew is just doing in general to kind of just bring us this energy of blooming. Taps into the root chakra, so that is our grounding chakra. That is the chakra of, of our divine feminine energy, of the reproduction system and our, canal and all of the parts and all of the stuff, right? Passion and drive and vigor, all of that, what makes our blood boil, right? So it's all of that alignment, which again brings in the energy of empowerment and courage. And when you put all that together and you tap into dream recall, there's the alignment of actual dreams and making sure that you've got your red jasper there to help you with an actual dream you're trying to remember. But it's also in terms of your dreams, your ambitions, your goals, to remind yourself. We come here and we forget sometimes what we actually came here to do in terms of our mission, in terms of starseed alignment or whatever it is that you align with. So when we think about this energy of dream recall, it's not just about the dreams that you have when you're sleeping. It's about reminding yourself of your soul's mission. And red jasper can help you with that, especially when it taps into courage and empowerment and passion and drive and making the choices for yourself and not waiting for things to happen, right? On my Momentum Monday quote yesterday was, I'm not built to wait, I'm built to initiate. So that's the energy, basically, of not just sitting on your hands, right? And just la-di-da-di-da, hopefully things happen. It's like, no, well, what can you do to make things happen? Hibiscus does that, red jasper does that, Bloom Brew gonna do that. And just, again, clearing out what doesn't serve so that everything that is meant for you can trickle to the top. Make room to bloom, Ashe. What's up, King Eye of Heru? How you doing? Good to feel you. What's up, what's up? Thank you for joining my live. Welcome, welcome. So I want to tap in to these cards. It's a lot of alignment that's been happening. A lot of cosmic confirmations are blooming, as much as all of the things and the tangibles that have been blooming for community, for the world, and, some good, some bad, but all of that is meant to be, right? It's hard to really delineate what is good and what is bad because all of it is necessary, and we are in a dualistic dimension, and we have to be able to experience all because we are composed of it all. We are dark and we are light, and we are supposed to be for a reason. And it's also about that challenge of choice, right? Which way do we choose to lean in a certain situation and circumstance, especially when things are unprecedented and we don't have any example per se or experience in how to navigate something new. It's a choice in terms of us really deciding our character. And we're going to be tested, and we're going to test ourselves, especially if we're in an alignment where we are chosen and chose to be here during this time when shit's literally like empires falling as they should. Pluto in Aquarius, baby. Okay, so let's tap in to the cards, see what is in store. I posted yesterday in my stories as well as on my page. Every Sunday I go live at 5, and tap in for the rising signs. And I do the live, go through every rising sign and give a message of what everybody should be keeping in mind and heart for the week coming to help everything rise into place, right? I always say nothing is falling, it is only up from here. We usually say everything's falling into place. I'm like, nah. No, I'm switching up all the language to keep everything high vibes. Everything is rising into place. Nothing is falling. It is only up from here. So when I was tapping in for Aquarius risings, which I am, I always say, fellow Aquarius risings, I am one of you. Let's see what Spirit has in store for us this week. And then I choose the card, or the card was chosen because it just flipped out. And it was a card that said the bloom. And I was bugging because everything that I've been talking about for the past week and a half has been about the bloom, in bloom, bloom brew as I'm promoting my tea. And to get the bloom for the alignment that I actually am in terms of Aquarius risings, it was everything. So all of that to say, I'm very, very much excited to see what Spirit has in store for us. For this alignment, for this here connection, community vibes. Hello, hello, sir. How are you? I see you, Mr. Appleton. What's up? What's up? Wendell, you good? Welcome, welcome. Thank you, thank you. I see Stefan. How are you, Stefan? Stefan is asking if I am psychic. I am everything, Stefan. Steven or Stefan. I am everything, as are you. As are you. Whatever I am capable of, you are capable of. Trust and believe. The real single mothers for life. I am, you know. Say word. Nobody works harder than us. Oh, I gotta stop top. I didn't even get to ask you, but I'm gonna stop right now and give it to Mrs. Rowe because she gave me the stop top. But indeed, much love to you, single mommy. Asheo. Let's see what the message is. Mrs. Rose said stop top. The law of tithing. Number 44, tapping into, we just had our 4-4 portal, April 4th, right? It's about stability, instruction, foundations. The law of tithing, expand your consciousness and all things will be added. Expand your consciousness and all things will be added. This is when we talk about making room to bloom, of just that energy of release to increase, that all that more in store, it is already done. But there's more. There's always more. We just got to make space for it. We have to create the room. We have to make the expansion. We got to clear things out. We got to empty our hands. We got to put shit down so that we can pick something new up. You know what I'm saying? If we think about it literally in that regard, how are we actually going to be able to experience, grab onto, hold the tangibles of something new if our hands are tied, if we're bogged down by something, if we're keeping the weight of something that is no longer for us or that feels heavy? We always know what feels heavy. We just might be used to the weight. We always know when something is heavy, but we get used to the weight. So we really have to acknowledge when we still get to put it down and why you choose not to. And the energy of why and asking ourselves why and knowing our why goes for all choices that we make. Usually when we align with that notion of knowing your why, it's in regards to your dream, your passion, your ambition, so that you can hone back in even when things feel like they're taking too long, or you're, disgruntled, or if you're losing determination or discipline, you go back to your why. Likewise, in the things that are hurting and harming us, we have to ask that same question, why? Why am I choosing this? Why am I allowing this? Why am I giving the accessibility in regards to whoever and the whatever, whether it's internally or externally, that is able to do this and is allowing me to experience this? So acknowledge when something is heavy, why you're choosing to carry the weight, why you're choosing to not put it down, because there's always a choice. And that's very powerful. So when we think about this tithing, when we think about the, religious version of tithing, it's an energy of kind of giving a certain percentage, right, of your income, for example. So in that same sense, yes, sure. Giving any percentage, however you determine it based on and towards what it is and who it is that you feel you want to invest in. First and foremost, yourself. We think about the notion of savings, and we always say with our paycheck, we should always put a certain percentage on the side before we start to spend and circulate money or whatever the case is. It goes exactly like that. So whoever and whatever it is, and this is not just in terms of actual money, because time is money, because your life and your love is worthy and worth a lot, and there's value proposition to all of it. So whatever it is that you choose and whoever it is that you choose to give to in whatever capacity you are choosing to give, you get to decide, you get to be, and you should be discerning enough in regards to your decisions of what it is that you're giving up and why you're giving that up. We give to not necessarily need to receive in return, but we do have to also acknowledge that if we do that, we literally have to relinquish any expectation. There has to be a detachment completely to what it is that we're choosing to give, or don't do it. Just like it really, because that is the thing that ends up creating a lot of conflict within yourself, first and foremost, but also in terms of the relationships and dynamics that are surrounding you. Energy to somebody, and then you feel like, why did I bother? Oh, and you have this kind of negative energy towards the giving of it. Not only is it tainting what it is that you gave and the dynamic and the energy, it spoils you for any other in the future, because then you're always now going to have this thing of, oh, but that last time when I gave, this is what they did. And it's going to hinder you. It's going to stop you from giving further, or definitely not giving from your whole heart. Or you're going to have the expectation that ends up creating that same cycle all over again. So 222. Choose balance and harmony. Balance and harmony surrounds me. Balance and harmony surrounds me. Balance and harmony surrounds me. Ashe. And then our declaration for the law of tithing. I expand my consciousness so all things will be added. I expand my consciousness so that all things will be added. I expand my consciousness so that all things will be added. Will be added. The more in store. It is done. It is inevitable. As long as you come into the energy of expansion. And this is again where the giving without needing anything in return is part of the expansion. The energy of tithing, of giving a certain percentage of whether it's your money, whether it's your time, whether it's your love. And the reason I do align with the percentage aspect of it in terms of the way tithing is worked based on a percentage is because you have to make sure that you do not give your all. Hear me now. And I know that might sound contrary, but I need y'all to feel me on this when I say this to you. You need to not give your all. And that does not mean that you show up half-assed. That doesn't mean that you don't do your best. That doesn't mean that you don't show up for your people consistently and that you're not disciplined in your professional and your personal relationships. That means you don't deplete yourself. That means that you do not empty your cup. That means that you don't put yourself in a lack because you're choosing to just do for every and other so much more than you are doing for yourself. That's what that means. So when you come into this energy of wanting to give and wanting to show up in the energy of tithing, then yes, definitely think of the percentage. I always think of my heart as a pie graph. So if you think about this heart-shaped pie, and who doesn't love pie, right? So think of your heart as this heart-shaped pie, and you got to divvy it up. And when you're divvying it up, there's percentages that we're thinking here, right? That means you're only working with 100% of this pie, of this heart-shaped pie. So when you divvy up your heart, you have to decide who gets what. And you get to switch it up as well, based on life, based on love. And make sure that you are starting with yourself. Myself, at least 50%. I'm gonna start with half. You know what I'm saying? Like I split that piece of pie is at least 50%. Because I can assure you, the more you love others, the more you want to give others, is the more you have to love and give to yourself. That's the math. So we may think in some ways that we're being selfish, or that it sounds selfish to say I'm cutting like my 50%, that's it. I'm taking 50% for me. They get from it anyway. That's the best part about it. The more you give yourself, the more you get to give others. The more you have, the more you can give. And who's going to have more if you don't give it to yourself? How are you going to get it? And what if you were continuously giving to others and you're depleting yourself, and especially when you're giving to others who are not giving back? You lose and they lose. This is why we talk about filling up your cup and making sure that your cup runneth over, is so that others can drink of the overflow. When there's overflow in your cup, nobody is thirsty, especially not you. And when you are in service work and sacred service and you are in an energy, or you're a nurturer, you're an empath or a super empath, it's so easy to give without realizing that your cup is emptying and emptying and emptying until it's dry. And then what happens? Everybody is parched and everybody loses. So make sure, again, when you're talking about the tithing, when you're talking about the giving, do not give all. Do not give all. Because then when the all is gone, it's gone. And that's you. And then you lose and everybody loses. So I hope that resonates. I hope that makes sense. And I hope that it makes it easier for us to not feel selfish, especially as empaths and givers and people in sacred service and all of these things. I'm learning daily because I'm so quick to just put my stuff aside and make sure that I'm there and I'm showing up for the people that need me. And it doesn't serve them. It certainly doesn't serve me, but it doesn't even serve them. So what's the point? If I'm saying that it's about service and that I'm living my purpose, right? How long do I get to live that purpose then if I am literally depleting myself? This should be about longevity. And if being there and supporting people and being in service is really the mission, then it should be about longevity, and it should be about strength, and it should be about making sure that you can continue consistently to show up for these people. And you can only do that when you are consistently showing up for yourself, when you're consistently able to not just recharge or refill, but you've got reserve, okay? You've got reserve and reserves. Hear me now. It's not just about the replenishing and the recharging. You have to make sure that you keep reserve and reserves, because then you're covered. And when you're covered, they're covered. Nobody loses. But when you give your all, and again, doesn't mean that you don't show up consistently and all of those things, but all is all. And when all is gone, it's done. So you cannot risk in the work that you do as healers, as facilitators, as empaths, of super empaths, of healers in all different realms. Healers need healing too, right? So these are the moments that we have to make sure that we are doing the work for ourselves first and foremost, because we're not practicing what we preach when we're just showing up and pouring ourselves out into someone else and then end up realizing that we're completely empty. But yet nobody's there to actually help us replenish or add to the reserves or put the reserves back, you know? So the math's got a math, ultimately. The math's got a math. Queen Two Feathers, what's up? Thank you for joining, Queen. Hello, hello. How have the sound baths been going? Sorry that I missed Sundays. I'm live, but keep me posted. Please, please, please keep me posted. So yes, continue to do the tithing in all of the ways, right? Whether it's financially, charities, in your relationships, your time, showing up, checking in on your people, whatever it is, that is all part of tithing. But just make sure that you are deciding what that percentage is and be discerning about that percentage. And also think about ultimately the value proposition, not just in terms of what you're giving, but that return on investment. That's got to be real too. We have to be very mindful that we're not creating ourselves in this as being in a service, sacred service work, that we're not servants. Like there's a very fine line, you know what I mean, in that. And Queen Tony Taylor, who's going to check in on this afterwards, what's up, sister? She sent me this reel that was all about light workers and the things that we do, and that fine line between ultimately not being enough in receptive mode and aligning with the matter that matters, and acknowledging that we deserve to get things too. Because if not, and we're just in service, then yes, we're servants, we're slaves to this game. We're slaves ultimately to other people, and feeling like, oh, it's not for me. It's just, I'm just here to serve, and I'm just here to, whatever you need. Like we're not really coming into alignment with what we're actually here to do when we do that. And that's what that reel was all about, which was brilliant. So Thank you again, Sister. Had to give you the shout out and give you your kudos for sharing that, because it just really crystallized a lot of what we talk about all the time, but yet it's hard for us to actually practice it. You know, we just find ourselves in that autopilot of just showing up, showing up, showing up, showing up, showing up. Show up for you. You got to, you got to, you got to look out for you. And again, the more you have, the more you can give anyway. So why not put yourself in a position to have? You know, and again, we have it. Everything that we are, it is. We just got to make space for it to, again, make the room to bloom. Make room to bloom. So, what's up, Michelle? Thank you for joining on YouTube. You are welcome. And I thank you. I thank you. Yes, thank you for keeping me posted. I appreciate that. Queen Two Feathers. So as always, I'm gonna, kind of wrap things up. I try to keep the lives between half an hour, less than an hour, for sure, to just get back into all of the incredible things that are blooming in my life, so much of which I can't even share yet. But it is a real thing that some things are too sacred to share, whether in general, like ever, because it's just between you and source, you know what I'm saying? Or about the divine timing of it, because everything is energy and energy is everything. And sometimes we share something with the wrong time, with the wrong person, and they can actually hurt, harm, or hinder that mission and that progress, you know what I mean? And not that I'm saying y'all, but I'm saying just putting it out there sometimes is a little, a little preemptive. So I'm excited, and I will definitely be sharing. And it's also so much that we have to think about what we share in the right time and dosing things and increments and stuff, right? I did not expect to be promoting Bloom Brew, for example. I have an art gallery. I've been focusing on the art gallery. I'm working on an album. I've been focusing on the album. So many of other things that I haven't mentioned yet. But in terms of what I've been promoting online, that was really the focus. And then I've been making this tea forever, but it's just I keep getting the messages from people like, you need to bottle this stuff. Quite literally, you need to bottle this stuff. Oh my God, you need to bottle this stuff. So I bottle the stuff. I'm bottling the stuff. We'll see what happens. But anyways, somebody give me the time, and we will check our message from our angels this week. And please tap in on Saturday. Y'all, hello, Magic. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining. On Saturday, Venus goes direct on the same day that our full pink moon in Libra is happening. Venus rules Libra. So this is going to be wow. And it's going to be wow in regards to the things that matter to you: love, beauty, your finances, your relationships, karma, justice, balance, fairness, harmony. 233, thank you so much, Sir Wendell. So those alignments is what you have the opportunity to tap into. Name, claim, demand, command, it is done, it's been, so said, so done type shit, like for real, for real. And more than anything, clearing out what could be hindering or blocking what is meant for you. Full moons are about release. Venus is going direct. She's saying it's time to go. Let's get things moving, and then aligning ultimately with what's happening forward. So 233, gratitude rituals. Be thankful in everyday life. Your angels call upon you to insert a prayer of gratitude into every mundane act you do today. Washing dishes, folding laundry, or driving your car are all chances to contemplate the things you are thankful for. Bask in the glow of the blessings you've already received in life. This attitude of gratitude that determines your altitude stuff is real-ish, okay? So please, especially through these alignments, tap into that frequency so that you can make the room to bloom. Make space for the more in store. There's so much, and harvest is continuous, and you don't want it all at once anyway. So the things that have already come, just focus on that and being like, yo, word up. Thank you. Oh my gosh, that happened. This is happening. All the things that happened and that are happening, be so grateful for them, because that is such an easy way to make room to bloom. That is so automatic, because Spirit's just like, you know what? You see what's going on. Sprinkle, 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 sprinkle. I'm going to give you some more. I'm going to give you some more. I'm going to give you some more. We want the more in store. Make room to bloom, my beautiful people. Gratitude is a perfect way to do that. So On that note, I am grateful for you. Truly, truly thankful. And I don't know if this is showing up on the thing. These, I'm telling you, anyway. You know when you do the thumbs up and all that stuff on the thing just showed. I don't know why it's doing that. I didn't even have a thumbs up, but it totally distracted me. But anyways, I'm grateful for you all so much. Hello, Kate. Thank you for joining. Thank you, thank you. I am going to post this as I always do. It is going to be automatically on Instagram, but on YouTube, I'm going to wait maybe a day for it to actually be viewable, because there's a whole thing that they recommend to not post your lives right away to increase your engagement and viewership and stuff. So I'm testing it out. So I may wait 24 hours and then it'll post tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which also gives the incentive for those on YouTube to catch it live. You know what I'm saying? Because then you got to wait, unless you check me on Instagram. Sabrina Sahara shares on Instagram for those on YouTube. So that's it. In the meantime, and in between time, lest we forget, time to get back to natural. Peace.